So I now have the pleasure of introducing Professor Engobo Emeseh, who is currently acting Dean for the Faculty of Management, Law and Social Sciences. She's also the head of the School of Law. She's had an illustrious career, and I'm very much, please join me in welcoming her and hearing her as a keynote speaker for the opening keynote.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel a little bit like, an alien, because I see in the room very eminent leaders in business, and I'm just a lawyer. And I see Lorraine, 40 yesterday. Okay, congratulations, well done. Lorraine has been, for me, since I joined Bradford, one of, if you like, the leading stars of the School of Management. She supported everything, been through all of the changes, and continues to work with us, even though she's no longer really fully here with us. So good to see you here. Thanks, Will. Thanks, Nick, for laying out all of the exciting and interesting things happening with the MBA. First things first, I want to say that Professor Sankar Sivaraja, the head of the School of Management, specifically called me to say he said hello, to apologize that he's not here due to extenuating circumstances. He would like to be here. And in a sense, I kind of feel like all through this period, he's going to be thinking what's happening here. So in a way, I get some guilty pleasure out of that. And he's going to be a little bit on edge about all of what's going on. But he does say, well, best wishes, and to apologize on his behalf for not being here. He does say that he knows that Suzanne and Nick will be taking very good care of you both today and tomorrow. And he hopes to be able to meet up with you again at the next iteration of this event. Now, I was asked to talk about, now I must get this right, don't I? The MBA, Legacy, Reflections, and Aspiration. Legacy, Reflections, and Aspirations. And when Nick first asked me to talk about this, I thought, okay, what am I going to talk about? I'm a lawyer, what do I know about business? But I was sure that there are lots of synergies between what I do. And interestingly, I work in the area of environmental law, sustainability, those sorts of issues, and have done quite a bit around corporate governance, corporate regulation. So in a sense, I kind of feel a little bit comfortable, not very comfortable, but a little bit comfortable in your midst. And thinking about the MBA Legacy, Reflections, and Aspirations, particularly as it relates to the Bradford MBA. Just a little bit of history. Lorraine just said, graduated 40 years today. But the Bradford,
it wasn't today, but next.
oh, okay.
That would be the wrong message.
No.
False information, misinformation.
40 years this year. But the Bradford MBA is over 50 years old. And in that time, it's produced several business leaders, organizational leaders from across the globe. And it's had several iterations through the years. And if you look at the website, it talks about the MBA being for big hitters, problem solvers, global leaders. And that's what the Bradford MBA has done through the years in all of its history. In Nick and Suzanne's presentation, we talk about the various kite marks that the MBA has achieved, including being the best value for money MBA several times in the Financial Times. It talks about the triple accreditation and all of the various other laudable things that have been achieved through the years. The MBA also boasts of various notable alumni. Alumni who are at the top of their game in different sectors. In the public sector, in businesses and various types of businesses, including the news media fox, and I say fox because one of my favorite actors. Yeah, ground leaders and the like. And I think that is what the MBA is aimed at. That we want to be producing the thought leaders for the future. We want to be producing the problem solvers today and for the future. And in a sense, if we're going to be able to do that, part of what we have to do continuously is to reflect on who we are, what we do, why we do what we do, and whether or not we are continuously achieving the aims and the goals of this MBA. And that is why through the years, the MBA has gone through all of these iterations, including some of the ones that has been discussed today. Now, what is an MBA? I always thought I knew what an MBA was, but because I was asked to talk about it, so I started to read about it a little bit. And then I thought, it's a bit of a misnomer, and the lawyer and me kind of thought, should it really be an MBA? Because you think about business when you think about the MBA. But a lot of the MBA is really about organizations and how we make organizations work, and how we make organizations work for the goals that we set that organization to work for. And that may be in business, as we've talked about, but of course, as a lot of our notable alumni that talked about as well, it could be various other organizations that have nothing to do with the financial aspect, although that always counts because it's got to be sustainable. So I think maybe we should be calling it not Bradford, maybe it should be FOA, another MBA. But at the core of it is leadership. Leadership in whatever sense we mean that. That could be at the macro level, and it could also be at the micro level. And invariably, when we talk about businesses, we're thinking about businesses at the macro level, major multinational organizations that, drive the global capitals of the world. But we're also thinking about micro businesses that, if you like, are at the heartbeat of every economy, of every society, of every community, the local business person. And how we make all of that work. And part of that is the academic aspect of this, how we think about the ways in which we facilitate and support all of these various organizations in all of their various forms to be sustainable, to be successful. And that's what the Bradford MBA is about. It is rooted, it is steeped in the values of the University of Bradford. An essential part of that is, and I'll start with that, excellence. We are about excellence. Excellence not in the sense of taking the best to make them the best, but taking talent, nurturing that talent, getting the best out of that talent, and ensuring that they can be the best that they can be. That's what Bradford is about. And that leads us to our value of inclusion. We are an inclusive university. And as an to ensure its access. And one of the things, the biggest thing that we are known for is that we are a university that believes in people. We have, over the years, year after year, the third year in a row now, being the university, that #1 university for social mobility in the UK. And what that means is that we place people at the heart of what we do. And to that extent, therefore, when we think about the MBA, talk about perhaps the MBA being a misnomer, we are thinking about how we support the learning, develop curriculums, provide frameworks, avenues, arenas to ensure that the future big hitters, the problem solvers, the global leaders are embedded, imbued rather, with these core values when they go out into the workplace, do all of the fantastic things that we know that you are going to do. In essence, our world faces several challenges. on many fronts, whether that be in the environment, climate change, geopolitics, trade, migration, and all of the other issues that we have to deal with. And the problem solvers for all of these issues are these leaders who lead organizations, who develop the policies, who implement the policies, who look for new ways of solving global problems, who ensure that we continue to be sustainable in our economies. The crisis, the global crisis currently that we face on an economic scale, sorry, on an economic level, whether that be the living, what is it called? Cost of living crisis here in the UK, currency deflation issues that we have in several countries are all big issues that we've got to deal with. And the impact of this is not about the numbers. It is about people. When we have a cost of living crisis, it's about a mother who has to choose between whether she feeds her children or heats the house. It's about the business who decides whether or not they lay off staff in order to be sustainable or take other measures that will allow them to continue to grow and thrive. And in that world, what are the values that underpin the decisions that we make as global leaders? In the Bradford MBA, the decision is that we will be inclusive. That will be our core value. We will drive sustainability. That will be a core value. And that this will be embedded all the way through in the program, such that we are not just thinking about the financials, which historically was what businesses was about, and that we're thinking about the triple bottom line, the social, the environmental, as well as the financial. And if we push that forward a little bit, we're thinking about what we now frame as ESG, environmental social governance. And in order to achieve the SDGs that we've set ourselves, we always set these goals thinking they're further down the line, and before we know it, they're right here, and they are to this right here. In each of the SDGs that we look at, we've got to think about sustainability. It's at the core. If we're going to address the challenges of our times, poverty, environmental challenges, inequality, we are going to have to think about how we do business and how we do businesses well. And oh, it's gone now, the strapline. That's why the Bradford MBA strapline is about doing. They just took off my calendar. Took off my calendar. So it's about doing well by doing good. We do well when we do good. To me, what that means is that as thought leaders, as business leaders, as problem solvers, rather than think about just shareholder value, rather than just think about the economic aspect of our business, we're thinking about whether the policies, the strategies, the visions that we have for the work that we do includes this idea of doing good. Doing good by all the stakeholders in the various organizations and businesses that we serve. And thinking very much of it in terms of service that we serve the stakeholders. Doing good by ensuring that we place equal value on sustainability, that we place equal value on inclusion, indeed, as we do on the financials. And I think when we do that, when we think about doing good, we will invariably do well. Because it will allow us the spaces to create the kinds of workforces that we want. Because if we do good by our employees, they will do well. And if they do well, we will do well as organizations. if we do good by the stakeholders who are invested in our businesses in whatever form, we will do well. And so, my final point, Bradford is about inclusion. Bradford is about excellence. Bradford is about social mobility. In essence, we are about people. And the Bradford MBA at its core is about people. Doing good. Thank you.